purposely, of course. Spirit always does that, organizes for us. So today we're going to be starting our series of stepping into, are we really ready to take the big leap? Big leap into what? Huh. So how many of you would like to take a big leap into the next level of your life? Yes! Okay. You're setting them up for me, Marcy. How many of you would like to have be a fuller expression of the divine and experience a greater connection, a greater aliveness, and happiness and love and abundance and joy? How many are you ready to take that leap into that next level? Yes! Yes, if you're saying yes. Would it be all right with you if life just got a little easier? Yes! Well, my friends, you are in the right place then at the right time. Right here, right now, okay? Because this whole month, we're going to focus on the big leap. And it's based on a book by Hendricks, The Big Leap, Conquer Your Hidden Fears and Take Life to the Next Level. So that's what we're basing the whole series of talks on for this month of June. And for me, it sheds a bright and clear light on a phenomenon that I've seen play out in my life and in the lives of many others. And I want to introduce this phenomena by sharing with you a scenario that appears in a wonderful book called Aladdin's Lamp. And this book actually is by Bill Hornaday, and he was a protege of Ernest Holmes. So he was one of the people that were around when Ernest Holmes was really moving and writing his books. Well, he writes in his book about Julius Podholz, that last name, and that was his name. In a nutshell, this was a cab driver from New York who was a very, very negative person, and he moved out to Los Angeles. This is a true story. Bill Hornaday wrote about this in his book. And he had such a negative attitude toward life, and he went to Bill Hornaday for counseling. And what happened was he started to experience more of a connection with the divine, with the oneness, and he became more alive. He experienced greater happiness, more connection, and greater abundance. In other words, success, that wonderful word, success, in his life. And one day after he had met with him and turned his life around, his wife went to see Bill Hornaday because she wanted to thank him for this great gift. Her husband is transformed. She wanted to go and thank him. And here's what Bill Hornaday wrote about this experience with the wife. He wrote, "I warned her that the rest of the way might not be as easy. It is a curious fact, which each discovers in his own fashion, that the experiences, the coincidences, the answers to prayer come tumbling over one another in the beginning, and then once you're thoroughly convinced, suddenly there's work to do." As many who are in our foundation class know. And there are dry periods. 2, until sometimes, like the monk with the aching knees, he writes, the most devout find themselves saying, "I believe, help thou my unbelief." So, have you ever found yourself there? Things are going great. Everything's fabulous, right? You feel in that spiritual zone. You're connected. You're so connected with the unity of all life. Your prayers and your affirmations, you're on a roll. You're on a spiritual roll. You're moving along with life is G-O-O-D, and you are enjoying it. And then everything starts to fall apart. Little things, and sometimes everything collapses all around you. Ever happened to anyone? We've all been there, so we've all been there. So when this happens, we can start to doubt ourselves, and we can become frightened and discouraged and really question, I mean, what is this thing that, this thing called life that I'm studying the science of mind, this God is good stuff, you know, but you might ask, what's up? What's next? What's up with that? There's a process that Mary Baker Eddy, the founder of Christian Science, not to be confused with religious science, we take drugs, called, they don't take drugs, called chemicalization. Boy, that really fit in there. Okay, anyway, this chemicalization takes place in your body and your thoughts and your feelings. This is an actual phenomena that is now being proven, and she wrote about this in the 1800s, right? So this is when reflected, this is all reflected in our body and in our affairs or circumstances in life. And things can appear to be a mess while this is going on, while this chemicalization is going on. As we're processing all the spiritual knowledge, you know, things are taking place all around us that feel like they're crumbling, but we're still centered and rooted. I'm going to get to explain that in a minute. And because this really does make complete sense to me, and there could be other stuff going on while you're centered and remain grounded in the divine knowledge that the essence of who you are is that God nature. And that's the power of these teachings, is that no matter what is going on in our lives, no matter what is going on in our life, and stuff will always be going on in our lives, there is at the very essence of each and every one of us this divine support. Because as Bill spoke about in his readings, it's the divine givingness. That's the love of God. It is always giving. What is the love of God? It is giving of itself to that which it creates, and it's created each and every one of us. So this is why this is going to all build on each other during the month, and this is why I'm encouraging everybody to try to make every Sunday. So before we get to what might be going on and what causes our good to come to a screeching halt, I do want to establish a little bit of a foundation. The reason that you said yes to all those questions a few moments ago is this. Long ago, before you came into this incarnation, you made an agreement with the universe, and you really agreed to take on this experience of having this human life. And in the human life, all of this stuff comes up for our growth. But I want to get into what Gay Hendricks calls this our zone of genius. Our zone of genius, okay? In this zone where you are fully alive, where you are expressing your divinity, okay, this is your genius zone. We all have it, as it shows up through your unique talents and gifts that you share. And trust me, everybody has a unique gift and a talent to share. So we have amazing potential. We truly do. And it says in Scripture that the kingdom of God dwells within. You are the temple. You are the temple of the living God. That's what you are. You are the light of the world. You are the light of the world. Each and every one of us has within us this innate potential to shine brightly, to really express our gifts and our talents. We all have this within us to shine our great lights. We all have this light. We know how to do it if we just trust and just connect with that indwelling divinity. That zone of genius, that's what it is. The zone of genius is your indwelling divinity. It's the ultimate path of success and happiness, where your daily activities come from a place. They come from a place within which is unequally you. Unequally you. We are all individualizations unique unto ourselves, created from this one life, but each one. Remember, the universe, God, does not repeat itself. It doesn't have to. So it creates all of nature uniquely. So each and every one of us is unique. When you are in your zone of genius, you are free, happy, abundant, prosperous. You're in that place of radiant health, light, joy, well-being, well-being. And that you're doing, that is what is calling to you. And it's calling to you because of your genius. It's always calling to express itself. That's the genius zone is that innate feeling that we have that pulls us, that we want to express more creativity, more joy. We want to become more. We're always in the state of becoming because that is the nature of the divine. So therefore it is our true nature, our genius zone nature. But here, according to Hendricks, is the challenge that faces each and every one of us while we're having this human experience is what he calls our upper limit problem, or OPE, like go. So upper limit problem. So Hendricks suggests that each of us has an inner thermostat setting that determines just how much love, happiness, abundance, joy, peace that we allow ourselves to truly enjoy. We each have this. And that thermostat probably got set during early childhood through the beliefs that maybe we were indoctrinated with, or through race consciousness, which is the collective unconscious, or through religion. However, it got set. This is the amount that you can receive, okay, within us. So when we exceed that inner thermostat, sometimes what we do is we sabotage ourselves, and it's usually unconsciously. We don't do it usually on purpose. And it causes us to drop back into the old familiar zone, not allowing us to get to or stay in that zone of genius, that zone of genius. We self-sabotage, and we usually don't even realize it. So I'm going to read from Ernest Holmes in How to Use the Science of Mind. The perfect was always there, he writes. It was implanted by spirit. The imperfection has been added by the human mind. What the human mind has put there, it can take away. What the divine has implanted cannot be uprooted. It only appears to be covered up. It only appears. So we're going to change that to fit our languaging today. So it would read, our zone of genius was always there. It was implanted by spirit. The upper limit problem has been added by the human mind. And what the human mind has put there, it can take away. What the divine has planted cannot be uprooted. Remember that. It can only appear to be so. That's the thing that we have faith in. As we deepen our belief in that knowledge that it cannot be uprooted, that divinity within us is absolutely there always. It is our eternal self. That's the beauty of this teaching. That's the beauty and strength and empowerment that we move into when we move into that real connection and belief that this is true. My genius zone, which is my divine self. You each have one. We all have one. Until we did that already, right? But we need to become conscious of the phenomena of self-sabotage, of when we move into a place where we start to hit that upper limit thermostat. And sometimes this happens when we start to enjoy life, we start to really start making money and experiencing more loves and we just start to really enjoy life in all kinds of ways, and we hit that upper limit switch, and consciously or unconsciously usually do something that stops us. So we back down because that thermostat says you've hit your limit. This is as much good as you can take. And this is the human mind speaking. This is the upper limit problem, the O. This is coming not from divinity, not from your genius zone, but from the human mind that thinks this is all the good that you can deserve. We got to expand that. We have to expand that. Blow the roof off your head. Just expand it. And here's what it can look like. You make a big leap up, getting a terrific promotion or something like that at work, only to experience a serious health challenge. Remember, what we think, we're body, mind, body, and spirit. It's all connected. There's no separation. It's all connected. So what we believe is going to show up in our experiences and in our physicality also. So here's what it can look like if we make that leap, we get that promotion, and we get that health challenge. Or you can embark upon a fantastic new love relationship, and suddenly your upper limit problem, will enshroud you in a wet wool blanket of guilt that keeps you from really enjoying it. And Hendricks tells a story in the book of a couple who fell madly in love. They fell madly in love, and they had never felt that way about anyone else before. And they quickly got married, and they were going to go on a short honeymoon, and they pulled the car over to the side of the road just to get a little privacy, and they put a blanket out, and they rolled off of the blanket, not consciously knowing it, and they rolled onto poison oak. And it could take poison oak up to 24 hours, it says in the book, to produce symptoms. And they're pretty nasty, is what I hear. Well, they were clients. This couple were clients of Hendricks. And they went to see him upon their return. The wife was absolutely convinced this was a sign from the universe. Never should have got married. Absolutely convinced. The husband was a doctor. And so he started to doubt himself. I've seen many cases of poison oak. How could I not realize what it looks like? I know what it looks like. So he felt all this guilt. And as Hendricks was listening to this story, he saw this flashing neon sign above their head saying, upper limit problem. They had reached their great love. And it's like this thing in them, we all have this thermostat, did not allow them to go any further in the relationship, but he worked with them, so it had a happy ending. But the point is, that's what we're always expanding. That's why we're always growing. That's why we talk about the same principles and truth over and over again. The repetition that Holmes writes in his book, he's repeating the same things over and over again so that we can actually get it. So we can keep expanding. We can keep growing. We can make that thermostat go up even higher so that we can experience more good. And that's what we're going to be. I'm laying the foundation today for the whole month. So I just recently saw a video that has it might be a possible example of hope, played out in a very, very tragic and public way. And if you saw the movie, then you might understand this is it. And it was the documentary of Michael Jackson that he made in rehearsal. And if you saw that, you saw how incredibly joyful he was, how he was filled with life, with possibilities. I mean, it was just a phenomenal movie. And this was his big comeback tour. He had 80 concerts sold out. 800,000 tickets were sold in record time. And he really did seem filled with joy and love and possibilities. And he said that he was so happy that he was able to do this concert. That never happened, but he was so happy to have this opportunity because his children were finally old enough to understand what he did, and he was still young enough to perform with such energy. And it looked like in rehearsals, this man was really living in his zone of genius. This is what he was put on this planet to do, to express himself in such, oh gosh, in such a creative manner. It was an amazing, if you haven't seen it, it's an amazing movie. And this chance was, this concert was going to be his chance to really show his zone of genius, really be in it fully. And perhaps, just perhaps, he reached that upper limit. He reached the upper limit. And I don't know, of course, if that is true, but it kind of brought that back to me, that there was just so much that we can expand upon in our lives because of that thermostat of our thinking. And remember, it's thinking. And Ernest Holmes says, change your thinking, change your life. So we are able to always become more of who we are. And that is the deepening of the belief. And that is our genius zone. That is the thing within us that keeps saying yes. It keeps saying yes, like we said yes to all of those possibilities in the beginning. So next time you find yourself with a stomachache or a headache, you might be experiencing that upper limitness. You might just have a headache, but sometimes if you look a little deeper, there's something else going on. Something else going on. And this is the time to really pay attention to what you're thinking, to notice what you're noticing, to notice what you're noticing, and to continue noticing what you're noticing in your life, just for you, so you can become more of who you really are. And that is a genius. That is what the divine can only make perfection. It only creates perfection. So for this entire month, we are about eliminating this upper limit problem. We're going to delve into different processes of eliminating, just getting rid of that thing that holds us back. And I'm going to ask you to do two things. We're going to start with two things. The first one is make a commitment to take the big leap into your genius zone. To make that commitment. Make a commitment to live from the place where you are a fuller expression of the divine, where you are experiencing greater connection, aliveness, and happiness, love, limitless possibility, radiant health, joy in your life. A place where life works and is easy. Easy. Let life be easy, joyful. When you consider the possibilities of consistently feeling good and have things go well in your life, you may find yourself thinking, well, that's not possible. This stuff always happens. It's not going to happen. Don't waste too much time going into that stuff. Just stay into, if you're in the flow, stay in the flow and know that you are living in your genius zone, that divine zone where the limitless possibilities of the divine are raining through you. They are surging through you to become more of your true self, that essence of beauty. That is the truth of who each and every one is. So let it be possible. Let it be possible. But be willing to move forward and be willing to know that this is a possibility, that life can be easy. This is a possibility. So be willing to make that commitment today. Just be willing. That's all you have to be. The second thing is, and it's your homework, is to start paying attention to upper limit thinking, to that thermostat. How might it be operating in your life? How might it be, this requires going within and doing some internal work. Because remember, it's an inside job. Remember that what we do internally then shows and reflects in our outer experiences. So taking this leap into the zone of genius will require some internal changes. But we're going to explore them this month. We're going to explore them this month. And we're going to look at these challenges, these changes, in a gentle, loving way. You don't want to be harsh on yourself. Loving and gentle to ourselves. We're already harsh enough on ourselves. So this is gentle and just compassionate with our own self. And support one another. We're going to support one another in this process during this month. And we're going to take that big leap together. We can all hold hands, join together, and take that big leap into that limitless possibility that I absolutely believe this with all my being, exists for each and every one of us. So are you ready to join us and take that leap? Are you?
Yes.
Okay, then let's start it right now.
Okay.